Fintech Australia and Tier 1 People present the 2022 People's Choice Awards. The Finnies Award, where the Australian fintech community gets to decide the winner. Make sure to join us on the 23rd of June 2022 in Melbourne for the industry's most prestigious awards event. Now, here are a few words from one of this year's finalists.
Hi, I'm Caleb, the founder of Cash. We launch white-labeled investment products for partner companies so they can offer tailored investment products to their customers without building a wealth business in-house.
Cash are finalists for People's Choice Award in Emerging Fintech 2022. Caleb, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dexter.
Mate, it's great to have you here. I remember, 4 years ago, we met at a fintech event when we used to have those things and eating pizza, and you were telling me about this idea that you had. So I have to say, awesome work. Here you are as a finalist in Emerging Fintech of the Year.
Thanks, Dexter. I think the business was a bit different back then, but
it was very different. Yeah, very different.
Yeah, absolutely. I think back then we were B2C. Obviously, that's in the long past now.
Right, the days of the neobank. Seems like a lifetime ago, eh?
It certainly does.
Well, congrats to you and everybody at Cash for making it to this year's finals. You must be stoked.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear I see the names in the other finalists. It's been a pretty competitive year. We're stoked to even make it this far.
Yeah, and look, I agree with you. I mean, the competition just gets tougher every year, and it's a real achievement to get to the finals, let alone win one. So awesome work. Well, look, maybe if we could, first time on the show, so maybe if you could, for the benefit of our listeners, tell us about the big problem that Cash solves.
Sure. Well, I think I'll start by saying what we do, and then I guess the problem that we solve is a bit bigger than just what we do. I think what we do is we launch and operate white-labeled investment products, basically helping companies launch digital investment products into the market. And that's because launching investment products is really hard and expensive. Typically, it takes millions of dollars and 12, 18 months to get an initial MVP investment product into the market. And for a lot of companies, big and small, that's just too much of a burden to run themselves, particularly when they haven't worked out yet whether their product can resonate in the market, has a big enough opportunity. So we launch investment products for our partners at a fraction of the cost, fraction of the time, help them get in a market in a highly regulated space at a fraction of the risk. So that's what we do, but we kind of think the problem we're really solving is the problem that our clients solve. So our clients are launching investment products to help their customers invest. And at the end of the day, most investment products are complex and have higher barriers to entry. So they're scary, and most people just don't invest. I think you would have heard all the stats from all of the wealth fintechs in past years that say, only about 1 million people trade on the ASX every year. Only about 1.5 million people invest in anything outside of super and real estate. And it's just a totally abysmal state of affairs. And so our clients are all seeking to offer investment products which lower the barrier to entry and massively increase the number of people in Australia who are investing their money into equities or other products. And we make that happen for them. So the big problem we're solving is we're helping more people invest in products that are tailored to their demographic and their life journey, their financial situation and needs, and we power them to get to market.
Cool. So, we said at the beginning, when we first met, you had a very different kind of idea in mind. Where did the kind of inspiration for the pivot come around, and how long has it taken you to get Cash now off the ground?
Yeah, so the original business, for the listeners, the original business was a B2C investing app. We called it Cash, and it was an investment product that sat on a debit card. And the entire pitch of the business was real-time liquidity with investment-grade returns. We thought that if people could invest their money and withdraw it, and it would feel liquid like cash, they would prefer to invest more of their money, and it would take away barriers to entry. I think what we built that for about a year, and the product worked as described. It was Australia's first real-time liquid investment product, and we felt amazing. But what we discovered was that real-time liquidity was not a big enough of a pull to get clients in at an effective cost of acquisition. And so I guess our numbers were, stressed, as I'm sure a lot of early stage B2C fintechs are. And around the same time, a number of other fintechs and other companies were reaching out to me personally, asking, like, how did you do it? How did you get the license? How did you build the tech? What is the infrastructure you used? What service providers did you use? And I found myself advising at several other fintech founders and product managers on how they can build their own investment businesses. And so I was just doing that to be helpful. And it was one of those ideas that kind of came much later than it should have, but it was like, wait a minute, I've built half the stuff that you need, right? And at the moment, my investment stack is powering my app, but like it wouldn't be that hard to just power your app as well. And so that kind of brought around the idea, and I went back to both of those, both the two founders we were closest to, and pitched them the idea, and one of them said yes, and that was Alex from Spriggy, and now we power Spriggy Invest. Awesome. They were our first client. And that kind of took the pivot in the business, that rather powering our own product, we can power a range of products which have different value propositions, different customer segments. And it kind of just grew from there. Now we've got 7 retail products, 2 wholesale products live and public, and then a few more in the product development roadmap. Cool. And, hopefully we'll grow and grow from there.
Awesome. And so in terms of kind of number of people, and where you're at in the journey, kind of funding wise, where's Cash at?
So we originally had a seed investment round of 1.2 million, and that funded both the initial B2C business and then most of the pivot. And then last year we raised another 3 million. Well, one of the things about pivoting B2C to B2B is B2B businesses pay you, and they pay you up front. So like our business model is very different to what it was before. So our clients pay us every month their minimums or their other fees, which means that, the cash burn for a B2C business is very, very different to the cash burn of a B2B business. So obviously we now rely on our clients to scale. So we've given up some of the control of our growth to our clients, and we trust them. But on the other hand, our cash flow is much better. So it's just a very different business model going from B2C to B2B. Anyway, in terms of our funding, we closed our 3 million Series A in December, and that has funded our growth in our team this year. We're now at 18 employees and some contractors as well, about 22 in the full-time team. And I think that's the size of the business.
Cool. So there's obviously growing competition, in the wealth space. It's probably kind of the last, what I'd say low-hanging fruit that we've got to tackle in fintech here in Oz. How have you differentiated from the competition?
It's an interesting question. I don't think we have any direct competition in the sense that what we do, there's no direct competitor. Often when we pitch to startups or larger businesses, it's a question of build it yourself or go with us. So the existing service providers that are in the space don't provide enough for a client to launch an investment product to market without a significant build on top. And that's obviously what the early players like Raise and Spaceship have gone and done. But newcomers come to market, go, I don't need to reinvent the wheel. Is there someone who can just offer me the investing stack, full service stack, end-to-end solution? And we're the only one who provides that. So in terms of how are we better than the competition? Well, we're competing with build it yourself, and we're like 10% the cost, 25% the time, way lower risk. It's a bit of a no-brainer.
Awesome. Now you talked about growth and you being kind of dependent on your customers growing in order for you to grow. I'm sure you experienced when you with the first iteration of Cash that B2C is tough because we've got a small market here. B2B kind of is easier, but it's still tough because there's still a fairly small market, but quite a lot of competition, right? It's not long before you will have competition. How, what are your plans for future growth? Is this a solution that can kind of scale globally, or are you just going to be focused on Oz?
We certainly do have international plans, but it's not for the next 12 or 24 months.
Right.
I see a lot of growth in this market. And just for illustration, we put out a micro investing report every quarter, which analyzes all the different players, how big each player is, and where the growth has been in the market. There are now 2 million micro investing accounts in Australia, and that's growing at almost 100% year on year. And we'd expect that to continue for the next few years. So I would suggest that the market is probably going to hit 5 to 10 million accounts within the next 3 to 5 years. We would love to pick up a significant share of that through our clients. So that market, I think, is big enough to support our business over the next period. And then from that point onwards, how do we continue to grow? I think there's 2 ways. One, we can add a more diversified product offering, additional services, additional features to, service those clients better. And the second one is obviously international. We are currently Australia and New Zealand only, although we provide exposure to investments around the world. But there are some obvious next step jurisdictions to go into after, the Australian and New Zealand market is saturated.
Awesome. Now, one of the biggest challenges, sure you're finding out, Caleb, is and I think it's kind of might be relatively easier to raise capital than this next one, which is bringing in the right talent. It's such a difficult thing to bring in people who are primed to launch and scale a fintech business. How have you gone about finding and hiring the right people to help you on this journey?
I don't know if I've got any answers for you there, Dexter. It's just hard.
that is the correct answer. I think this is.
No, well, I don't know if it ever was, but it certainly isn't easy now. I'd say, look, I think we just do what we do. We have a process and a funnel. Obviously, you want to get that top of funnel as wide as possible so that you get good candidates in. I think we rely heavily on networks and contacts to do that. I think a lot of our best hires have come through networks originally, although we obviously run pretty diversified top of funnel to get candidates in. Then we have our screening processes, and we're pretty heavy on culture and values in the screening process. I think at our stage of business, it's not that hard to find people with the technical skills that we require. I think they're pretty well defined by this stage. So these are the skill sets we require. It's harder to find the cultural fit and to make sure that that's consistent over a more extended period. I should also say that we kind of view cultural fit a bit differently to some other companies. I think we take a two-sided approach. We find that we can express our culture and values to an employee or a team member and say, look, this is what we expect from you. But on the other side of the coin, we also need to know that we meet their needs. Like an employee might have a need for money or for flexibility. They might have family commitments or other things like autonomy or control around what they do. They don't want to be just told what to do all the time. Alternatively, other people might want like security and stability, and they want a very well-defined job. So cultural fit goes both ways in our selection process, and we do actively try and ensure that when we bring someone on the team, not only do they meet our needs culturally and technically, but also that we meet their needs so that they don't have a bad experience, over the next 2 to 4 year period.
Yeah. You use some terminology there, kind of top of funnel, which kind of suggests that you're taking more of a kind of customer-led approach to hiring talent rather than, the traditional approach, which is stick an ad up, tell everybody you're hiring, and then the whole world should consider themselves grateful that you're about to save them from a life of misery and deprivation by working for you. So it's great to hear. It's great to hear that the approach that you've got is very much kind of customer and people centric.
Well, I think the people we want, not necessarily browsing job ads, right?
Yeah.
They're probably out there achieving amazing things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how do we go out and find them? And I think like we have a top of funnel, middle funnel, closing process, and the top of funnel is critical. If we put up an ad and get 80 applicants and 10 of them are okay. You got a really small pool of people to pick from. And so, we need to expand the top of funnel, and we do that. We kind of take an approach of working out how do we get in front of the right candidates for each role. And it's not always the same. Yeah. I mean, hiring a fund accountant is different to hiring a developer, is different to hiring a salesperson. So we try and customize the top of funnel to the role, and then we run our process.
Look, I think it's a great approach. I like to use fishing as an analogy. You got to go, first of all, where the fish are, and then you have to bait the hook appropriately with the bait that fish likes, right? And if you're not doing those two things, you're not going to catch anything.
Oh, I agree. I think another thing we've just started addressing in the business is employer brand. Yeah. We've kind of focused on brand for clients and for sales processes, obviously, since the beginning. But we're just starting to look at that employer brand going, look, we have culture, we have values, we have a mission, we know what we're trying to achieve, and we know how we treat our team members internally, and we're really proud of it. How do we communicate that to the market so that we're more attractive to really good candidates? So I guess that's an area of focus that we've been working on over the last little period.
Awesome. Now we're coming to a wrap up, Caleb. This is the part where, look, you get to speak to your peers in the fintech community and tell them why they should consider voting for Cash. So in your own time, look, when you're ready, why should Cash be voted Emerging Fintech of the Year at this year's People's Choice Award?
Cash should be voted Emerging Fintech of the Year this year because we are making a massive dent on the investment market, and we have a huge opportunity to grow from here, and winning this award will help us take advantage of that opportunity. In the last 12 months, we've grown from 2 products in market to now 7 retail products and another few wholesale products, and we're continuing to grow from here. We are literally flooding the market with investment products that are tailored to different customer segments and reaching out to people who haven't had investment options available to them that suited their needs before. And I think that's an amazing mission, and we've achieved a huge amount in the last period, and we'll continue to progress as long as we have community support, client support, employer support, investor support. We support a range of fintech founders to put their product in a market. I think vote for us because we are launching a wave of fintech products that the world wouldn't see if it wasn't for Cash Invest.
Well, Caleb, congrats again on making the finals. Good luck to everybody on the night as well. And mate, amazing work. Well done.
Awesome. Thanks, Dexter.
The People's Choice Award is brought to you by Tier 1 People, leaders in fintech executive search. We'll help you launch, scale, and innovate by finding world-class people.